Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. Hey, Alexander Usyk knocks out Daniel Dubois inside 6 rounds. Now, I want to go back. This is my moment today. Listen, I'm going to go back to the person that said to me that Alexander Usyk didn't have the power to knock out Daniel Dubois. I hope you saw this time round that not only Dubois got dropped, he got knocked out. Spark out, knocked out. No excuses. The minute I looked at the weight and I saw Usyk at 227 pounds, right? Already, this guy's fired up. I hope you can hear me. This guy's already fired up, yeah? What God do you serve? If you notice, all through his talk, he's been talking about Jesus Christ and the Virgin Mary. Jesus Christ and the Virgin Mary. He keeps talking about it all the time because he took that insight, he took it personally. They riled up the beast. They riled up they poked the bear too much, way too much before the fight. Usyk is the greatest of this era, of the modern era. He's the greatest heavyweight of this era. I told you, he's the second Ali. But people don't want to listen to me. People don't want to listen to truth. I told you about what was going to happen to Dubois. I told you exactly what was going to happen to Dubois, and this happened exactly as it was going to happen. People don't want to hear the truth. People don't like when I speak the truth. But you got the truth tonight. You got the truth tonight. You saw the truth. Dubois could not prepare for someone like couldn't get the sort of sparring for someone like Usyk. And Usyk is always better second time round. And once I knew he was 227, you see Usyk didn't do a lot of dancing around the ring. He obviously moved away not to allow Daniel to land punches. But I told you stop him inside six. I said to Uncle Bashir, Uncle, he's going to stop this guy inside 6 rounds. 227 pounds. He's looking to let his shots go, standing close and let his shots go. And this fight was a serious fight. This fight wasn't about like the Tyson Fury fight or the Joshua fight or the Bellew fight where he had good feelings towards the other guy who was fighting. The Usyk you saw tonight and the punching power you saw tonight is the punching power I've always told you about. That man has got it there. But you want to decide to come out and rile a man. You want to get a great fighter and you want to make him into all-time great. Your camp should have kept your mouth shut. But no, blah, 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 blah. You don't do it to a guy like that. Know your history, know your fighters. There's some guys you can do that to. Him, you can't do that to. Guys who would have a good chance of beating Usyk, in my opinion, are Ajit Kabayel and Joseph Parker. Those are two guys I think I could give Usyk problems because they're physically smaller, so they're not having to use their height. They're around the same sort of height as Usyk. They're both got good hand speed, far more intellectual boxers, right? And both guys, I think actually Cabal outside of Usyk is the best heavyweight in the world, in my opinion. But there you go. DDD should watch Bo Holyfield. One, you need to rough Usyk inside game to beat net. You can't do that. You can't do that. I keep telling people, Usyk is like Mayweather. People think, oh, Usyk can't punch. There's people who don't understand boxing. Usyk punches hard enough to keep Joshua off him. Punches hard enough to keep Fury off him. Right? He's not one of these guys that he's one of these guys that he hides that left hand, but when he needs to bring that left hand, Usyk's the kind of guy. The way I look at it, the way I view Usyk is one of the guy who's got like he's got nuclear weapons in his back pocket, yeah, but he's just using water pistol with you, water pistol, and also you know what, right, it's time to get you out and let me get this nuclear out. And for Dubois, he got the nuclear out. You got the nuclear, and I was telling you over and over again, but people don't like it. People want to dislike my videos. People want to dislike things. Well, he got knocked out, and it's not me being not patriotic. It's just see a fight as it is. I don't get into the biasness of it. Well, this guy is from my country and that guy's from my country. It's not about that. It's about seeing a fighter for what he does well and what he doesn't do well. He is an absolute master. Let me hear what these guys are saying. Look at nonsense they're talking.
We tried to get going. He's a young champion, Daniel Dubois, 27 years old. Remarkable what he's achieved to date. He'll be back from the stronger That's a great champion, generational great being that there's no, if you're gonna lose to someone like that. You understand? He'll be back from this. Yeah. That's the whole thing. Yeah, I want to thank everyone for coming out. I'll give you my best.
Do you know what I mean? Dan Charles is now having to tell Dubois to thank the audience. I mean, I said he'd be back. Remember I told you about Humpty Dumpty? Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall at Wembley. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Wait and see my words. Watch my words. Then they'll come back. They know. You'll see. I've said it over and over again. He didn't listen to Don Charles. It's not about listening to John Charles. I told you this battle, the battle that the old boy was in tonight was out of his remit. Like, he was just the body that was there. This fight was a spiritual battle. This fight wasn't about Daniel Dubois and Alexander Usyk. You girls don't understand that this was a spiritual battle. You were calling out David to fight Goliath. You were saying, David, you ain't got the balls. You're saying, David, you ain't the man. You see, the two things, I don't know if you noticed at the press conference, I kept talking about the rosary. I've got more information about it now from my friend Eugene, who's Ukrainian. And when Usyk was doing that with his finger, that was for his faith in God. And the other one, the other one, right, is where he was saying 3 for undisputed, so 3 times, so 3 times, and then he was doing this for the cross. So listen, if you look at Usyk has never pushed out his faith as much as tonight's fight, or this fight. When Don turned around and questioned, said, what God do you serve? You're a liar. Once he said that, you question the integrity of a man, the manhood of a man, and more the spirituality of a man. And when you do that to a man like Alexander Usyk, who's already shown you who he is in history, you guys ain't picking up. He's showing you who he is in history. But you want to treat him like every other fighter. When you're going to fight a guy like Usyk, you have to prepare like you're fighting against an all-time great. All-time great. Not a guy you're fighting at Bethnal Green, or a guy you're fighting flipping, just a normal title fight. You're fighting an all-time great. And to fight an all-time great, you have to understand history. You have to see how the greats would go about this. You can't just come in there, with a towel over your back and say you're a trainer. It don't work like that. It's an all-time great. So what did all-time greats do when they were going to fight a guy who was a great? Sugar Ray Leonard, when he moved up to middleweight to fight the great Marvin Hagler. He knew how great Marvin Hagler was. So what did he do? He didn't poke the bear. He didn't go up to Marvin Hagler and start insulting Hagler and saying, you're an old man, you're this and that, because Hagler would have trained harder. Hagler would have been more motivated. And Hagler was difficult as it was. So what did he do? He kept this quiet. And then when he got in the ring, he dealt with Hagler. First of all, you're limited in what you do. You're limited in your approach. Your approach is limited. You can only win by knockout. You can't outbox this guy. You can't outpunch this guy. So the best thing you could do is get close and rough him up. But for you to do that, you got to do that on the quiet. You can't be all bells and whistles shouting out saying, yeah, we're chaos. And you start doing that stuff. You're ready. The red flags are up in Usyk. Then you're questioning the man about his spirituality. And you're questioning about the man's integrity. And he's got a whole nation behind him wanting him to win. You don't question a man like that. You don't. You want to neutralize. You don't want Usyk getting onto you, and that's what happened tonight. Usyk knew that Dubois was going to come, and that left hand was going to be there. And I said, 227 pounds. He's put that weight in because he's looking to knock him out. You know what I mean? The other fights are like, I can get this guy done. I can beat this guy. That's how much of a genius Usyk is. He didn't pack on weight to fight Fury. He didn't pack on weight to fight Joshua. But he packed on weight to fight this Dubois. Why? He wanted to knock Dubois to send a message. That's great. You can adjust your weight. To then do that. So at 227 pounds, Usyk like that is a puncher. Stop with this Usyk can't punch rubbish. The man can punch. He can clearly punch. He's not Mike Tyson punching power. He looked concussive today. He's a concussive puncher. The thing is, he wore 227 for this fight. When he fought Chisora, he didn't know what weight to come in at. Then when he fought Joshua, you saw in the third round when he hit Joshua, Joshua did that silly dance. He did enough to win the fight. Who's Jesus Christ to me? A great man. That's who Jesus Christ is to me. But who Jesus Christ is to Alexander Usyk? You know, he's something very close to Alexander Usyk. You know, you don't. There's certain things you don't attack, and that's a no-no. That's an absolute no-no. And you saw the results in the end. Ingram, what the hell was Serenka doing today, bro? I could say 1,001 things, but you know what? Leave it. Best things is left unsaid. But yeah, it's Usyk. Absolutely zero head movement, brother. Well, absolute zero head movement. Absolutely zero feinting. Absolute zero jab. Absolutely zero boxing. If anybody wants to go back, go and look at my Usyk video when I was in camp with Alexander Usyk. Not Alexander Usyk, I'm talking rubbish, with Vlad Serenko. Go back and watch James Bashir working out with Vlad Serenko. I've got a video, I went into camp, I went to Germany, and you watch what Bashir is teaching Serenko. And you tell me in what he was teaching Serenko and what you saw tonight. I know what I saw tonight. That was not a James Ali Bashir fight I saw tonight. And I'll leave it as that. Yes, Bashir was in the corner, but that was not a James Ali Bashir fighter. Not at all. Far from it. I have received a lot of messages from the units defending our home. They are my team. Glory to Ukraine. Wow. What do you think about Crawford versus Canelo? I think Crawford's going to get knocked out. I think plain and simple, he's getting knocked out. He's not defensively sound, Crawford. And if you can't push Madronov back, you're not pushing Crawford, Canelo back. He's getting knocked out. He's getting certified knocked out. Trust me. I think certified knocked out. In my opinion, certified knockout. Serenka treated his head as a magnet to Dacre's fist. Yeah, he's walking in straight lines. He looked like a real amateur. He really did. Vatos Lokos for life. Okay. Yo, what's up, Vatos? Good evening. Absolute zero. Let's see what else is saying. Jab couldn't be handled. Is he just a great man or God himself? I leave that for you to work out. Jab couldn't be handled. Hi. So it's a name. I can't even talk about Serenka anymore. Let's see what else. His power. He's always had concussive power. I told you this. I've been telling you this. I said there's two levels of Alexander Usyk's punching. Level number one, man, that's the water pistol. And then the second one's the nuclear one. The nuclear one you saw hit Tyson Fury. I had somebody come in here years ago and tell me the first Dubois fight, he said to me, Usyk's not got the power to stop Dubois. Well, he stopped him twice now, and the second time was conclusive. I said to you, the writing would be on the wall. I said as soon as Dubois gets hurt by Usyk, it's the beginning of the end. He hurt him the round beforehand and then stopped him in the next round. I told you. You get frustrated. Dubois is great against guys who are flat-footed, come forward. He's good against guys. A shootout. He's good. He's not good against guys that are movers. Ajit Caballero would have beaten the crap out of him. Joseph Parker would have beaten the crap. Oh, why do you think they pulled the Joseph Parker out? Why do you think they pulled the Parker off him? Parker has too much lateral movement, in and out. Great jab, puts punches together. You would have knocked Dubois out. So you wouldn't have had this. All Usyk did was loan his belt out to Dubois. That's what he did. He loaned the belt out to Dubois, and he's come back and got the belt back. And he has not changed. The straight right hand, he was hitting Dubois with, just like the first fight. And just watching from the left hand, he was there, and Dubois was unable to make adjustments. Look at bang, left hand over the top. They see showing it again. Just watch the left hand. He could not get out of the way of the left hand. He could, and he did land the body shot this time. What happened when he landed the body shot? What happened when he landed the body shot? Usyk's got weakness to the body. Well, he landed the body, didn't he? What happened? What happened? I don't know, man. So shout out to Alexander Usyk. It's been an honor to have had him on the channel. It's been an honor to know you, great man. I said he's the second Ali. Same height, same birthday. He's the second Ali. Okay, we have our Ali was from that generation. This is our Ali. Alexander Usyk is our Ali. That's my opinion. You can take it to the bank or not, but for me, he's our Ali. Let's see what people are saying. Time to pull House and Canal. He lost to an absolute bum, bro. I expected Serenka to batter that guy. We all expected it, but I wasn't surprised. I was meant to go and see Serenko and Ali Bashir, and I'm only living about half an hour away from where they're at, and I haven't even gone to see them from Friday. That's gonna tell you a lot. What did I say, bro? DD got blown away. Well, I knew he was gonna get blown away. I knew he was gonna get blown away. I told you it was gonna get blown away. I said within 8, Daniel only threw one body shot, looked nervous and confused all night. I told you, I warned you, inside 6 rounds, he will stop Dubois because it's personal. Disappointing, no? Not really. Fight, not really. Glad I never paid for that. I knew Usyk would win, but Daniel never threw anything. He couldn't throw anything because all the sparring he did was prepared for a guy that was nothing like Alexander Usyk. When he got in the ring, he met a ghost. That's what makes Alexander even greater. Who you gonna get for sparring to prepare for Usyk? That's the thing. Daniel Dubois looked worse. No, Usyk was 227 pounds this time. That's why, and Daniel was just trying to go for the knockout. Ingram, he was countering the hell out of a Dubois, bro. Every shot was hurting Daniel badly too. That's, I told you what was going to happen, because he'd made a big song and dance about chaos and bloodshed and by any means necessary and all this stuff. This is a man whose country's at war. You don't say words like that because you trigger a man like that. And Usyk was triggered already by the trainer. He was triggered by the fact that people called him a cheater and a liar, and all the people that were that around Dubois, adding to the fire. So when they were talking to Usyk and they were shouting off all the things they were saying to Usyk, they were just riling him up. They were putting more fire on. They didn't have an idea what they were dealing with. They were, in other words, the Incredible Hulk. Hulk is a good example. The one thing you do against Hulk is you don't get Hulk more mad, because the more you get Hulk mad, the more stronger Hulk gets. So you don't do that. So that's why I said they're tactically, they misread the script. They came in with a very amateurish, in my opinion, amateurish. Not amateurish is the wrong word. No, forgive me for saying amateurish. They came in with a very naive game plan. That camp should have been very quiet. That camp should have spoken to Usyk with the utmost respect and stuff. See, it was different when Tyson was talking to Usyk, because when Tyson was calling him greedy belly and all this stuff, Usyk said, you know what? Tyson Fury is a joker. Tyson Fury, you see Tyson Fury behind the camera, and he's a really nice guy. He's a family guy and all this stuff. And he said that about, so he had the utmost respect for Fury, had the utmost respect for Joshua, had the utmost respect for Chisora, had the utmost respect for Bellew. He had no respect for Daniel Dubois. Had no respect for Daniel Dubois and his team. And that is what happens when you go against an all-time great. I'm sorry. This is what happens. You called it with the fake confidence from Dubois. It was a bluff. I told you it was a bluff. I told you. As soon as a stone hits that glass which is the confidence. I told you about Humpty Dumpty. You thought I'm joking. Let's see if they can put Dubois back together again. I don't think they'll ever be able to put Dubois back together again, in my opinion. He's 27, yeah, but you have taken his confidence up to false confidence, right? And it's been shattered, absolutely shattered. And trust me, the British media are not going to let him get away with it. Oh, it's going to be horrid. You know, changes may be made, and one of the casualties, I think, it'd be interesting to see if Don Charles remains with Daniel Dubois. Very interesting, because they're going to be asking questions, and they're going to shift the blame to somebody. That's what I could. These things like this happen in a desperate bid to put things right, but can you put things right? I'd be surprised, because the psychological damage. You didn't get beat. You got knocked out at Wembley. And the only way you can put that right is to get back at Wembley and put it right. You didn't get dropped. It wasn't a, you know, the first fight you can comfort yourself with, oh, it was a body shot, and I should have been heavyweight champion of the world, and you know, he cheated his way. Now that could have been the script. But what script now? What can you cling to? Well, I didn't drop him. I didn't significantly hurt him. He dropped me. He hurt me. He knocked me out. And I was meant to be better second time round. Did you see all these things that will, in my opinion, not go good in his favour? It's, and I'm not gloating at this at all, but I just get fed up at times where I have to listen to absolute rubbish. You know, it's a two-horse fight, of course. You need two people in the ring, and they have to sell the pay-per-view and say Daniel Dubois this and that. But the opposition that Daniel Dubois fought when you're coming against an all-time great, none of the guys he fought are going to be all-time greats. None of them. None of them were southpaw. And those are the key things that they didn't want to tell you. And they say, oh, well, you know, Dubois the puncher. Show me where was the puncher. Did he knock Usyk down at any time? So why is he a puncher against Usyk? Why were people thinking he was going to knock Usyk out? How? What? In what planet? How? But you show me where in that first fight he looked like he could knock him out. On the flip side, look at Dave Allen when he fought Johnny Fisher the first time. And Dave Allen dropped Johnny Fisher, almost dropped him. At no point in time when Johnny Fisher was loading on them big shots did he look like he was going to knock Dave Allen out. Come the rematch, of same people are coming around and saying, oh yeah, Johnny Fisher's going to knock Dave Allen out. But there was nothing there. If anyone, it was Fisher who was going to get knocked out again. And as you said, like I said, it happened. You have to study this sport, man. You have to study the sport. And Lennox is saying he would beat Alexander Usyk. Well, Lennox never fought a southpaw in his career as a professional heavyweight, right? There was Chris Bird. He didn't want nothing of Chris Bird. He never fought Michael Moorer. Why is he going to beat Alexander Usyk? I don't know if Lennox Lewis does beat Alexander Usyk, to be honest. It's not like Lennox has had the greatest of chins either. I mean, he's a good boxer, but I'd like to see how Lennox matches up against a southpaw. There's a reason why he never fought a southpaw. Let's see what here. It's a lot of... Did Serenka have a bad camp? Oh, hold on. Let's see what people are saying. Oh, God, I've got to go for this. I have to leave it as that. Disappointed. Serenko is garbage. Sorry. I don't ever want to hear about him again. I'm sorry. I really am sorry. I personally apologize for what I saw tonight. But truth be told, I kind of thought it going to happen. If you notice me, you know me. You notice I didn't do any preview for the fight. I just told you it was a change of opponent. And then I went, hey, if you know me well, then if you know, you know. Good evening to you, Ingram. Or should I say Ingram Manos. The seer of boxing has arrived again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. Serenka made him look like he'd met the next Ali. I know. Well, you know, you can have a great trainer in your corner, but Serenka needs to take a serious look at his team. I'm not talking about James Ali Bashir. Supreme. Ingrid tried to tell us Don Charles set him up for aggravated assault. What a donkey. That's what that was. That was GBH tonight. Ingram, Bashir needs a word with what was Sorenko doing. I don't think that had anything to do with Bashir. Honestly speaking, I think he was sat in one round. Bashir turned around to Vlad and said, "Are you okay?" And Vlad turned around to Bashir and said, "Yes, James." Sorenka at heavyweight has some serious work to do in order to be consistently good. Coming forward without setting up the jab inside is not good enough. Yeah, but I'm telling people, if you go back and look up, this is the thing. This has got nothing to do with James Elibashir. Go back and look if you can. Type in Vlad Sorenko, James Elibashir in camp, and you'll watch Sorenko in camp. Watch him in his head movement, and you'll think, hold on, that guy I saw in the camp and the guy I saw tonight is unrecognizable. Did Sorenko have a bad camp? I don't know. He looked awful, Sorenko, yeah? Will you speak to Bashir? He's in England. I haven't gone to see him. He's 20 minutes away from me. I haven't gone to see him. I didn't go to see him Friday. Tonight's Saturday. Well, I spoke to him on Thursday. I bought him I spoke to him for a long time on the phone, and I treated him to a chicken and chips, Uber style. So, yeah, gotta love Uncle. It's not his fault, but yeah, when Uncle was here before with Klitschko, and after Klitschko lost his fight against Joshua, I was there within 15 minutes of the hotel room, 20 minutes of the hotel room. Me, my dad, my sister, we were there. We sat down, we used to talk to Uncle Bashir's like family. Uncle Bashir's met my dad. They're around the same age. Do you understand? So, yeah. And I didn't go to see them. That should tell you something. Did you notice where all the extra weight went to Usyk? His legs look like tree trunks. Yep. Ingram, let's be honest about Sorenko. Made Bashir look bad. No. Did it make Bashir look bad? Think about it. Bashir was involved with 3 fighters. He was involved with 2 fighters top of the bill. He was in Dubois' camp. He was in Usyk's camp. He was Usyk's trainer, and he trained Sorenko. Can you imagine? What a triangle! And in front of the whole world. I tell you now. I'll tell you what happened next to Sorenko. They'll throw him to the wolves. If Frank doesn't, Frank will have a serious word with Sorenko for sure. He will not be happy with that. Turkey saw that crap as well. What I think will happen, they'll throw him to the wolves. They'll stick him in a big fight with a guy that's looked to take him out and finish him off. That's what I think. They'll feed him to the wolves against a puncher. Mark my words, it's coming. Turkey Al Sheikh just tweeted, I want to see Usyk against Utama. This is the fight. Jesus Christ. Utama will get absolutely destroyed. He's not ready. Utama is yet to fight someone with a pulse. Stop it. Absolutely. Ingram, tell these casuals Itama versus Usyk. Like, just people, I don't understand. Itama's not even been hit back yet. That's a huge disservice and a disrespect to Alexander Usyk. Itama cannot beat Alexander Usyk. Oh. That's what Turkey Al Sheikh said. I disagree with him. Well, I disagree with him as well. Ingram, who you picked to take off the head with Ajit Kabayel. Ajit Kabayel. You know, a long time ago I said I thought Joseph Parker could become undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. I said it back then. If Usyk retires, he's got a good shout. But the thing I'm asking myself the question, is Parker shut out because he knocked out Martin Bakole? Because since he got knocked out Martin Bakole, we haven't seen Parker. So has he been punished for knocking out Bakole? Or are they saying, nah, this guy is too dangerous? I wonder because if Parker had beaten Dubois, he would have got the IBF championship now. Then Usyk would have had to fight Parker. And I think Parker gives him his toughest fight at heavyweight. I really do. I do. Because Parker's got He can box, he can fight, he can go on the inside, he can go on the outside, he's got lateral movement, he can throw body shots, he can throw in combinations. He gives Usyk a lot of problems. A lot of problems, Joseph Parker. ST Turkey is a casual, that's why. Itama needs to do something. He isn't even close to a close world title. Too early. He hasn't even been hit back. Listen, if the rumors are true about Itama having a glass jaw, that's not going to bode well for the future. Let's hope that jaw is not glass. Usyk, Usyk, Usyk. And David Allen took it easy on Johnny Fisher the first fight. Yep. Lennox was different though. He was in his prime. He probably beats Usyk. There's nothing to suggest he would, bro. It's nothing to listen. He got knocked out by Hassan Rahman and he got knocked out by Oliver McCall. And people forget that when they talk about Lennox Lewis. Which Lennox Lewis are they going to fight? Is it the Lennox Lewis? Is it Lennox the Lion Lewis? Or is it Lennox the casual Lewis? Because Lennox the casual Lewis would get knocked out by Usyk because the way he got knocked out by Oliver McCall and the way he got knocked out by Hassan Rahman, Usyk could do that. Usyk's movement, Usyk's footwork, he's going to give Lennox a lot of problems. He's going to give Lennox a hell of a lot of problems. Good point on Lennox Lewis. Hi, bro, from Malaysia. Hey, shout out to Malaysia. I almost came to Malaysia to do cricket, but the coach they've got there is a damn good coach. We respect you, Ingram. Thank you so much. Big up, Ingram Maybad. If you don't know, now you know. Do you think Usyk should retire? I think he should retire. I think he should retire and have that not Muhammad Ali, that Bruce Lee sort of myth about him. He should retire as a myth. He really should, like where you do mythical matches, or Bruce Lee would have beaten Mike Tyson, that sort of things. I don't know why they say that, but yeah, Bruce Lee would have beaten King Kong. Usyk should retire. Always like, imagine if Roy Jones had retired when he beat John Ruiz. At that point, he would have been an icon. Nobody will question John. Then Tava comes and knocks him out, and that just scatters everything. Usyk needs to now. I think he should retire. Retire right now. Who are you going to fight next? Retire. You don't need to fight Joseph Parker. You don't need to fight Ajit Kabayel. But yeah, I'd fight Moses Atalma. Yeah, if you put it on the plate, I'd fight Moses Atalma. I'd clean him up. I'd definitely fight Moses Atalma if I'm Usyk. Usyk done a Section 18 on Dubois. I told Eugene when he was doing the ring walk, I said, tonight, Usyk is a killer tonight. And we both noticed he wasn't wearing any fancy clothing tonight. There's no fancy dress. He was ready for war. I just looked into his eyes and said, this guy is ready to do serious damage tonight. Serious damage. You got to know your fighters, man. Know your fighters. I've got something else about Vlad Tsarenko. Listen. Let's clarify something here. I'm not the trainer of Vlad Tsarenko. I'm not the manager of Vlad Tsarenko. I'm not even Vlad Tsarenko's best friend. I'm just a guy who did interviews with Vlad Tsarenko and was supportive of Uncle Bashir, right? That's how that goes. I'm not part of the Vlad Tsarenko kind of, I don't know, a counseling unit. As much as Vlad Tsarenko never changed from the guy who got knocked out by Fraser Clark. Oh wow. Why don't people trust in James Ali Bashir? Such a shame. Industry. Why do people not want to hear the truth? Why do people constantly tune in week out to hear people give predictions that get sensationally wrong every week, right? Why do people listen to David Hay? How many predictions did David Hay have got right? Nobody steams into David Hay. I just try to study the sport, and I try to study the sport, and I guess as a coach, you'll learn to study details. Block out the noise, study the details. And for me, I don't like when I was doing those interviews all the way back then, I didn't just do the interviews, I studied the fighters. I studied what they said, and then what they did, and then what they said, and then what they did. Fighters fight, always remember, fighters fight in patterns. Yeah? The greats can make the adjustments. Everybody else, they fight in patterns and they do the same thing over and over and over again until it doesn't work anymore. So yeah, there's a lot of me to read here. I wish I'd just they'd done this on YouTube now. Brought Bashir's name down. I know Bashir is better and deserves more. LOL, your old man and Bashir are the same age. Similar age. Bashir's in his 70s. My dad's in his 70s. Usyk champion. You noticed Vlad Tsarenko was not sitting on his punches. Yeah, I noticed that. Of course, Itama is not on Usyk's level, but the thing is, there are no other opponents for Usyk. Yes, there is. There's Ajit Kabayel. There's Joseph Parker. There's Frank Sanchez. There's, I don't know. There's, I don't know. There's Fabio Wardley. I'm not saying that Fabio Wardley is the man, but let me get this out of the way. They are building Itama. Well, he has crazy power. He's entertaining. Who? Moses Itama. How do you know he's got crazy power? He hasn't fought anybody yet. Fantastic call, Ingram. Big up. Usyk generation great. He is. Darren Barker said it right. What on earth is Usyk world is Tsarenko doing here, Barry? I don't know. You watching Tim Tszyu and Pacquiao fights? Don't know. Pacquiao looks too old. It's just a shame. Pacquiao is fighting. That's again another fight I've done nothing on. If he becomes world champion again, great. But then, where does he go from there? I don't. If I knew Pacquiao would retire, if he became world champion, retire, I'd be happy. But the fact that he's talking about other fights, not good, not good. The legendary Usyk. Tsarenko looked like a big stiff idiot. I'm sorry. Lennox had Stewart until the end as well. I agree about Usyk to retire. You were right about Dubois' team. Shouldn't have riled up Usyk. He came in and seek and destroy. Saw the writing on the wall from the first round. Yep. Ingram, what would have happened if Usyk and 1988 Mike Tyson? Well, you got to remember, Usyk's a southpaw. Tyson needs leverage. He needs to get in and out. He needs to get in. I think footwork's the key. Mike was fast, but so is Usyk. If Mike doesn't knock you out and Usyk can drive Mike back, well, you saw what Holyfield knocked out Mike Tyson. But I don't know. I think even Holyfield at 19, I think even Holyfield would have beaten Tyson back then because Mike can only fight one way. If you start to push Mike back and you hit Mike back, he doesn't like it. And there were fights he didn't knock people out. Bone Crusher Smith he didn't knock out. Tony Tucker he didn't knock out. There's quite a few fighters that Mike Tyson did not knock out. He went 10 rounds with. So, I don't know. And those guys he didn't knock out weren't as good as Usyk. You can't tell me Tony Tucker's as good as Usyk. Mitch Green's as good as Usyk. Come on. And Mike didn't knock them out. So, is Mike outboxing Usyk? No. I think people think Mike for his punching power. So if Mike can't knock Usyk out down the stretch, and Mike tied down the stretch, Usyk will come strong during the stretch, down the stretch. I don't know. Mike looked vicious against guys who couldn't fight. Honestly, guys who couldn't fight, or guys who intimidate by him. So Usyk's not going to be intimidated by Mike. Usyk's going to hit Mike back, and Usyk's not going to stand in front of Mike and let Mike throw them punches. So Mike's going to have to come and chase Usyk, and Usyk's going to make Mike miss and make Mike pay. I don't know. It's a great fight, though. It's a great fight. I never saw Usyk so good. Feel he's around his peak now. Well, under cuss. I don't know. Mike still has to do the fighting. I never saw 227 pounds. I think Usyk's gotten better. I think Usyk knows what weight he needs to be at now. Yeah, Usyk was locked down. He was a Stone Island grown. Did you really watch it? I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, Damien, long time. Apparently Mayweather Pacquiao rematch talks if Pacquiao wins. That's what I'm talking about. We don't want to see that. Sorry, I don't want to see a rematch. Barrios got stopped by Tank at a low weight and also beaten by ancient part-time Thurman. Don't disrespect my Thurman like that. Usyk, however, has faced larger opponents like Fury and Joshua and negated their size and movement and precision. Usyk would have done this to Lennox. I think so too. I think it'd have knocked Lennox out as well, to be honest. Because Lennox fought no southpaws, so there's nothing apart from Lennox's record against orthodox fighters, and he got knocked out by orthodox fighters anyway. So, I mean, yes, he revenged those losses, but he got knocked out by ordinary fighters. He didn't get knocked out by Hall of Fame greats. Hassan Rahman will not go down as a Hall of Fame great, and Oliver McCall will not go down as a Hall of Fame great. Oliver McCall's chin may go down as a Hall of Fame great, but him as a fighter does not go down as a Hall of Fame great. And he got knocked out by those two guys. Remember that when you talk about Lennox Lewis. Kal Bahai, oh nice. 88 Tyson against this Usyk, definitely Mike. Why definitely Mike? Tyson was extremely fast, yeah, and he got hit as well. Usyk's best fight was 1,000% against coming. Oh yeah, very funny guy, very funny guy. Tucker, Bone Crusher, Razor Ruddock were way bigger and heavier than Usyk. Way bigger and heavier than Usyk. Well, Ruddock was 6'3". Ruddock was 6'3", and Ruddock couldn't box. Ruddock had one big left hand, but he got Ruddock couldn't box. Come on. Barrios is tailor-made for Pac-Man. Horrible style. Pac-Man will beat him. Let's hope so. Let's stop talking about Lewis. He's retired. Absolutely. Right. Well, I think I've said my piece tonight. People can dislike the video as much as they like, but ultimately, truth is truth. And truth stood the test of time yet again. Always remember when you watch these pay-per-view fights, they've got to promote both fighters. Dubois only had a puncher's chance, a limited puncher's chance, and that was it. He'd been stopped by Usyk already, but yet somehow Dubois was the puncher in the fight. Even though Dubois got stopped by Usyk, Dubois was the puncher. How do you work that one out? And how do you work out that in the first fight when Dubois threw his best punches, he couldn't hurt Usyk? But somehow in a rematch, he's going to knock Usyk out. It doesn't match up. It doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. Moral of the story is, don't rile up the beer of an all-time great. Know thy enemy. Mike was different animal though, destructive undercuss. Or Mike was mythical undercuss. Yeah, he was mythical undercuss, but undercuss, who did he fight? Mike knocked a lot of guys out that nobody. Most of the guys that Mike knocked out before he fought for the heavyweight championship of the world. Tell me if you know the names. Tell me if you know the names of those guys he knocked out and look at their records. So Mike looked phenomenal against Bum of the Month. Bill Caton said it himself. He said, we just wanted to put Mike in the ring with guys who just made him look phenomenal and made him look menacing. That was the Mike Tyson marketing strategy. And that's why in their people's minds, Mike was unbeatable. Nobody more scary in 30 years. That's right. But yeah, but if Moses Atalma fights Bum of the Month for the next 25 fights, just knocking guys out you didn't know, yeah, that's what happens. That's what they did with Mike. Mike can fight. I'm not saying Mike can't fight. But then Berbick was not an all-time great. Spinks will not go down as an all-time great. Bone Chris Smith won't go down as an all-time great. Tim Witherspoon won't go down as an all-time great. So you start looking down. Lennox Lewis, he probably go down. He's going to be all-time great. He's an all-time great. Mike, Evander Holyfield will probably go down as an all-time great because of this. Obviously, won the heavyweight championship of the world 4 times. All-time great. Cruiserweight, undisputed. Heavyweight, undisputed. Holyfield beat Tyson. That's on the record books. Larry Holmes, Holyfield, Lennox. Yeah, we were talking about Larry Holmes. You know the Larry Holmes fight. You know the story about the Larry Holmes fight, right? You know Larry Holmes was meant he was been given a lot of time to prepare for the Tyson fight, and then Don King came around to his house one day. I said, this fight's going to be within a month, so Larry Holmes didn't get time to prepare for Mike. He was doing all right against Mike, but even worse, bro. Why do you mean? What do you mean bum of the month? Well, back in the day, in the 80s, you go back and watch. There's a video with Bill Caton. They were talking about how they made Mike Tyson and the marketing strategy behind Mike Tyson. Just guys who just didn't know anything about. Guys who have records like 15 fights and 50 defeats, and Mike would just go in there and boom, knock them out. That's what made Mike look so terrifying. They were good fights, were they? Like, bro, you need to go back and look. You need to go back and look at Mike before he fought for the heavyweight championship of the world. Go back and look at those records, those fights. Listen, Joe Joyce had a better record than Mike Tyson up to the fight when he fought Burbick. I'm not lying. Look at Joe Joyce's record, the guys he fought. Mike weren't fighting guys like that. Usyk has never been seriously hurt. That's what makes him a GOAT, of course. I know, but he was knocking them out literally in 20 seconds. Yeah, well, he's meant to knock them out in 20 seconds. That's the point. It's a marketing strategy. They were not even competitive at all. That's what I'm saying. Go back and look at their records. You argue with me, go back and look at their records. Ingram get Bashir on the blower soon. I don't know about that. Your boy got killed. Whose boy got killed? Something not right there tonight. What boy got killed? Who's my boy? And what boy got killed? I don't know what you're talking about, man. I have no idea what you're talking about. Dubois. Who told you Dubois is my boy? This is somebody. You're definitely new to the channel. Easy Ingram, great fight and great. I love people that come on the channel that are new. People that are new to the channel because they have no understanding whatsoever. Is that a racist comment? No, I don't think it's racist. People new to the channel. Welcome to the channel, Jet. I know you're very new to the channel, and you don't have an understanding of the history of the channel. Yeah, exactly. He destroys a legend in Larry Holmes. How old was Larry Holmes? And what was Larry Holmes doing before that fight? Come on, man. Stop it. Larry Holmes didn't get time to prepare for the fight. When you talk about these fights, check their history and what happened in the lead up to these fights. Not that old. Bro, you really don't know your boxing. You really don't know your boxing if you're saying not that old. Larry Holmes was retired. He was not. Larry Holmes was not still active. What are you talking about? He was still active. Listen, let me stop this conversation. Anyway, off the topic. Point is, thank you all so much for watching. This has been BWTM Sports Gaming. Please do like, subscribe, and we are rebranding the channel. Why should you subscribe to BWTM Sports Gaming? If you're talking boxing, unbiased, in-depth, no BS, unbiased commentary, and if there's an element of me being biased, I'm going to tell you, look, you know what, I like this guy, so maybe slightly biased, I'll tell you. But yeah, FIFA definitely. Yeah, and go back and look at some great interviews, including the interview of Alexander Usyk. Check out the channel before Alexander Usyk became cruiserweight champion of the world. Sat down, had him, did an interview, must be 20-30 minute interview with Alexander Usyk, and then I was able to watch him behind the scenes training before he fought for the WBO cruiserweight championship of the world. Check that out. There's a lot of interviews on this channel. If you go deep into this channel, a lot of interviews, a lot of fighters. Muhammad Ali's brother, Tyson Fury, Evander Holyfield. The list goes on and on of great fighters on this channel. Terence Crawford, Boots Innes. These are fights. Keith Thurman, Ray Mercer, Hassim Rahman. The list goes on and on of fighters. The list goes on and on. Ingram, think Pacquiao can do it like you possibly can. You don't know nothing about boxing. Oh, here we go. Who's this person? Let's remove you. I didn't know anything about boxing. Tonight I predicted that Alexander Usyk would stop Dubois within 6 rounds. If I don't know anything about boxing, then you don't know anything about communication. Good night. Good night, everybody. Have a great one. Have a good one. And by the way, trolls are out of date. So if you come to this channel to troll, go and get a job. Get a life. Do something positive with your life, because really nobody cares about a troll. Good night.